All right, folks, so today we'll talk about Vaughan. Why Vaughan might be falling faster than Toronto. And it seems like that Vaughan is trying to find its own DNA, is trying to find its own place in the northern region of Toronto. And at one point, we have seen, regular average detached homes sell for about 1.4, 1.5 million dollars, and now the same homes are between 1.1 and 1.2 million dollars. But the question is why? I mean, it has all the criteria. It might seem like it might seem that everything is in the right spot. However, there's so many problems that kind of uh, pressuring down on Vaughan, like that gridlock. So we'll get into that. I'll share my screen. We'll get into some data. I'll show you some homes and kind of talk about, is it even worth living in Vaughan today, like in 2026, like even with all these price drops and whatnot. So during the peak, we all know prices went crazy. And I have to tell you that at one point, Vaughan was the place to be. It seemed like it was the right location, not too far from the city, but going that 400 north was the route, the place that people wanted to be because they live there, they hop on the 400 and they can take the route going north and to the cottage life and all of that stuff. So during the pandemic, that was the golden area and it made sense, right? Most people worked from home and they found that settlement made sense. However, things changed. And if you ever drove recently on Jane, on Rutherford, on Major Mackenzie, on 400, it is a headache. No matter where you turn, whether you go 400 Highway North or if you're coming south from Barrie and Vaughan and all of that stuff, it is just nuts. Doesn't matter if it's winter, if it's summer, it's always busy. And it seems like that today people have to take that hit, right? And it's called time, right? And therefore, I believe that created additional pressures on real estate pricing. And I also digging through the data when I share my screen, we'll go into it together. It seems like that for some odd reason, there are two types of sellers. So the one type is the people that bought long time ago, and we know in the early 2000s when Vaughan was kind of like exploding with the new developments and phases and construction. And then the second people that are selling, the people that bought recently and they just want to get out. So a lot of people seemed like that listed in 2024 unsuccessfully 2025 with ludicrous pricing, and now they had to drop the price in 2026 if they wanted to sell. So we'll get into that right now together, and let's kind of dive in to the whole situation. So let's get to this particular I'm just clicking randomly, like there's really no specific listing. So let's look at everything. Like in 2003, like this particular home was sold for $315,000. Then it went up to, in 2011 it almost doubled. It got terminated, but then it sold for $500,000 even, and then it sold again a few years later for another $100,000. But the huge gap, as you can see here, it kept rising and rising and rising, and in 2026 they finally sold it. So as you can see, pre-pandemic pricing, $900,000, and they finally sold it for $1,141,000, right? So nothing special, but it's a beautiful home, little house, detached, nice entryway. But it is what it is. Like a lot of these small cookie cutter homes, but this house seems to have the whole package kind of together. So it's a nice, beautiful, cute house. But then the question is this house still worth $1.1 million? I know somebody paid for it 29 days ago, but is it really worth it? Would you spend $1.1 million if this home, 10 years ago was half of that, and 15 years ago half of that of 10 years ago? So like the price went up by 300%, right? So that's one of the questions. So let's move on to the $1.4 million. So this is exactly what I'm talking about here, that this house sold for 1.445 in 2020, which was the peak, and then it got leased. It got terminated. As you can see here, they wanted to get out of the market in 2025, but it was overpriced. And then finally, towards the end, they sold it for $1.4 million. So technically, there is a loss. But is this house worth the $1.4 million? So let's check out some photos. Detached. This is the trophy home. Let's call it like that. Double car garage. Nice landscaping going inside. I think this is builder grade overall, nothing extremely special, but it has separated dining space. The kitchen, as mentioned before, it's builder grade, flooring, builder grade, but overall it's a nice house. Let me just check the square footage for a second. So between 25 and 3,000 square feet, it was 62 days on the market, decent sized lot, right? So yes, would you pay $1.4 million? I know it might be a crazy question. Somebody already paid. But this home in the peak, was probably 1617 all day long. And realtors know this, even people that were checking out House Sigma or Realtor or talking to their agent. At one point, this house was valued at least 300,000 more than it got sold recently. But is it worth it? That's the thing. And speaking to people, they say even at $1.4 million, no, it's way overpriced. So I don't even know what to tell you at this point. So let's move on. Let's go to this $1.7 million. So this is a serious property. And again, same pattern keeps repeating. You see here that this home was listed for 1.798, got terminated in 2025, got relisted in 2026, and they sold it for 1.68. So now looking at the home, it's definitely a solid house. Upgrades, I see definitely the upgrades. I think this is virtual staging, so this home was probably vacant at the time of sale, but it has all the bones, all the elements. Let's get into the kitchen. So to me, this kitchen looks like a builder grade kitchen. However, I think they did change the countertop to granite or quartz. But I mean, looking at this house, aside the fact that it has square footage, which is great, this home sold for $1.7 million 2 days ago. And we can even see here in 2019, it got leased for $3,000. So I don't know when it was purchased. Probably this home could have been purchased, 15 years ago for maybe $400,000. And then for that landlord, it made sense to lease it out for 3 grand, if you know what I mean. But these new buyers buying this property for $1.7 million plus land transfer tax, plus this, plus that, and the other. So, what are they hoping for? I mean, did we really get to the point where this is the bottom of the market and they're expecting this house to be $2 million next year? I mean, that's a $2 million question at this point because I don't see it. And the carrying cost, unless you're paying in cash, what's the carrying cost on this? Like even if they had half for down payment, like their mortgage will be 6 grand. So renting it, it's more than $3,000. It's probably maybe 4,000 or $4,500 for a house this caliber, but it cannot cover anything at this point. So I just don't understand what the theory is behind this purchase. So we're only looking at the sold data at this point. This is an older home. It got sold in the peak for 1.38, and it sold for 1.478 2025. I think this house had upgrades. So okay, stunning lot. Yes, it had upgrades. So people that have purchased this house, who knows how much money they have sunk to make it work, but it looked like these floors are new and everything else is new. So, okay, kitchen seems to be an ordinary kitchen. So let me get to the actual bathrooms because that's where the cost starts to kind of go nuts when you start renovating. And you guys know exactly what I mean. You know, you touch one thing and then it kind of escalates. So yes, the renovations in the bathroom for sure. So the thousands and thousands of dollars, floors, main and second floor, same flooring. So that's the added cost. Okay, fine. So would you pay $1.5 million for this house? So in 2021, they have purchased this house for nearly $1.4 million. Now they sold it for nearly 1.5. They've probably sunk in between $50,000 and $100,000 plus all the commissions and all of that stuff. They're definitely underwater at this point. So let's show a few more and just comment below. Are you still stuck in traffic? Because any of these intersections, Major Mackenzie, Jane, 400, you name it, it's so much traffic that people are boiling in Vaughan. And from my understanding, people want to leave Vaughan because moving south and even moving north, like people don't get that 400 stretch, it's completely different. Like the landscape has been changed so much because Barry got bigger, Bradford got bigger, King got bigger, and everything is feeding off of that 400 line, right? And then into that gridlock where you're actually getting onto the 401 or just going to Allen Road or whatever. It's just crazy. Like this is hours. Like people are driving literally what it used to be a 20-minute drive. Now it's like almost a 2-hour drive. So it is just insane. And now it shows that that pressure on Vaughan is enormous, right? So let's get into the $2.8 million that got sold 13 days ago. So this was probably purchased from the builder back in the day. I don't know the date, but as you can see here in 2025, it was leased. Then they tried selling it again, the same pattern. Then they tried selling it for $3.2 million and finally sold it for $2.83 million. Now, again, like this is an estate home. Uh, Obviously, I love this brick. This brick is one of my. I think it's the forever brick. No matter what age, no matter the style, but this brick is like a evergreen style brick. Anyways, my opinion. Walking through the home, uh, we can see that. Some stuff has been done, but like for example, I see here that this is probably judging from the image here needs replacement floor. I think some of these the style. it seems to be a little bit tired. Like for example, this part here, like it's a $2.8 million home. This part bothers me. Like look at the entire house, but I just see this part here. And then I see this part here, how things are not, like you see over here, like things are not like perfectly aligned. So for $2.8 million, like I would want things to be a little bit more um, defined, more nicer, more quality, more attention to detail, right? Like, I mean, $2.8 million, is it worth it? I mean, is it worth it? So just looking at the kitchen, for example, this gap here, then the gap between the doors here, those knobs, and I know those are all little things. I mean, don't like just look at it as a whole entire image. But looking at this bothers me, right? Like this is nearly a $3 million home with these type of finishes. To be honest with you, I don't know. But look, they sold it. Good for them. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know what to tell you. Like even the kitchen, like this is not a custom made kitchen. And all of you guys that work with kitchens, um, if I'm wrong, just comment. But I know for a fact that there's no holes in a $3 million kitchen, and this is probably some IKEA shaker style type. This is not Sub-Zero fridge. This is probably a I don't know, Frigidaire or Samsung or something like that, and they just put two fridges together, making it seem like that it's one of those Miele or whatever, right? But I don't know. It's just my opinion. Like it's nice, but still, like I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. This is obviously nice. It has some definitely value, but just overall, looking at like even the office, like everything's to me seems to be IKEA. Nothing wrong with IKEA. Please don't take it the wrong way. But like if I had a $3 million office, like you want some walnut, like you want some coffered ceilings, you want that extravagance, you want that luxury, right? And I don't think we're still getting it there. So I want to end the video with the fact, like if you're living in Vaughan, like comment below, what do you think? Like does Vaughan have that DNA? Did it establish itself? How does it feel like? How does it look like? I know Vaughan used to be completely different, and it had its own qualities, right? People would move to Vaughan because of bigger properties or homes. It was close to the city. The access was there and all of that stuff. So, are you stuck in traffic? It's 2026. Some of these roads have been in construction for decades, right? So, how do you feel about all of that? How do you feel about current pricing of Vaughan? So, please comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.